So probably one of the most important functions of any board is to appoint the right CEO and monitor their performance. And in this episode, I'd like to talk about one of the best CEOs that I've had the opportunity to work with. And his name was Terry Effney. Terry was an iconic CEO in Australia's electricity industry, and particularly in Queensland. And I had the privilege of working with Terry for over a decade as I was a non-executive director on boards where he was the CEO. So there's three qualities that I've gleaned from working with Terry that I thought I'd share, because I think these are really important qualities for any CEO to have. The first one is integrity. And it goes without saying almost that you need a CEO to be an honest and ethical person, although history would tell us that that's not always the case. But part of integrity is also about trust, and particularly when it comes to the board, it's about a trusting relationship between the board and CEO. Because of course the board's highly dependent on the CEO to report the so-called good, bad and ugly news in a timely way in order for the board to be able to perform their functions. It's also important that there's that relationship because you need the CEO to be able to respect the role of the board and the ultimate accountability of directors for the performance of the company. I work with Terry on government-owned corporation boards where there are many different iterations of the board. And I can say that Terry served each and every one of those boards with exactly the same respect, candour, trust, developing relationships where he provided frank counsel in a timely way. The second quality is about humility, and humility also entails being an authentic leader. So we often see in the media the high-profile CEOs, but actually being high profile doesn't make for the best CEO. Sometimes the best CEOs are the ones that in fact don't seek the publicity. And this was indeed one of Terry's hallmarks. Being a CEO and a good leader to him wasn't about the trappings of success. Rather, his focus was on his people, internally motivating, acknowledging, encouraging people right across the organisation to achieve the purpose and strategic objectives of the company. We would often have stakeholder and functions that would involve really high-profile people. And they'd start obviously with Terry making acknowledgement of those people and spending time with them. But at the end of every function, Terry would make a point of going behind the scenes and thanking the caterers and the people who put on the function. And to me, that was a real hallmark of being an authentic leader. Of course, that authentic leadership also involves the care and concern for the well-being of others. And this is more than just a safety slogan or compliance with workplace health and safety obligations. It has to come from genuine care and concern for people in the organisation and people affected by the organisation. And in this, Terry excelled. The final quality is capability. And of course you need a capable CEO, someone who can take onto account vast amounts of information, who can distill it, who can identify issues, the nub of the problem and solutions. Ideally, you also want a CEO who can flex from the operational detail through to the strategic lens and the strategic environment in which the company operates and its best response. And again, this is one of the real qualities that Terry had. He had both the intellectual capability to be able to do all of those things, look at all of those dimensions that I've talked about, but the emotional intelligence as well to know how to relate that information. And in particular, he knew when the board had to hear from him, but when the board had to hear from others. So integrity, humility, capability, three great qualities of the CEO. What a privilege it was to work with Terry and to learn and see those firsthand.